Let's face it, guys only want one thing.
Hello YouTube, you're very welcome back to the channel. Today I will be sharing my program with you all. I'll be going through it in detail, giving you recommendations as well as reps, sets. I'll be talking you through how I think about the movement, what muscles I'm trying to target, and how I perform the movement, and giving you sort of tips along those lines. So I train 5 days in the week. They don't change, they're set in stone, it's non-negotiable. Why I bring that up is because I don't have to think about it. I just know on these days I'm going training and that's it. When you start talking about this stuff, it sounds boring, but we all have really boring lives. Like, it's fairly mundane. We go to work like 5 or 6 days throughout the week. We work for the majority of the week. So there's already a routine there. So you have routine with work, getting up, going to work. Why not just make routine outside of work in the morning, in the evening, to improve your health and improve your body composition? And have a routine in place where you don't have to think about it. Like, you go to work every week, you don't think about that. You just have to do that. So you could have your lifestyle set up in a way before and outside of work, after work, so that you're not thinking about it either. Like, regarding my nutrition, my sleep, the time I go to bed, I don't think about any of it. So if you don't even have structure, if you don't even have that covered, this video is almost a waste of time. Lifestyle, routine, nailed in place. So, with that out of the way, now we can get stuck into the training.
You know what's there? Waiting, beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
Make sure you're taking notes. So Tuesday, pull. I'm starting with a lat pull down. Last year I was doing pull-ups for the majority of the year, but I've been doing pull-ups for the last 4 years. What a movement. I love pull-ups, but they were getting a bit stale for me. I was getting a bit bored. I will return to them again at some point. But my first exercise of the pull session is the lat pull down. It's with a neutral grip, and I'm going with that wider V-bar. Why I'm going with that wider V-bar is because it fits my shoulder profile nicely. Sometimes you get those smaller V-bars that come in here. Nothing wrong with that, but for me personally, I like the wider one. I feel I get a lovely stretch. I can kind of like tuck my elbows in as I pull down at the bottom, and I just feel it hits my lats really, really nice. It's one of my favorite lat pull down variations, is that neutral grip lat pull down. Second movement is a seated cable row, single arm. Again, I'm keeping more of a neutral grip, and I'm going for a higher rep range here. I'm going for at least 10 reps, but the rep range is anywhere from 10 to 15 plus reps for all 3 sets. One thing I'll say is, the sets don't necessarily matter as much as the training effort and being close to failure and progressing in your training. Oftentimes when there's a lot of sets down on paper, you almost view it as like ticking the box. Okay, I have 3 sets to do. So you're like, okay, get the first one out of the way. All right, that's one. Cool, good job. No, not good job. Because I'd rather you do 1 or 2 sets, hard, quality work, good form, full range of motion, training really hard, taking it close to failure, and then that's a good set, and I'd be more satisfied with you doing that rather than being like, okay, I have 3 sets to do. So just be careful of that you're not going through the motions and ticking boxes. That's something I've had to check myself on recently. Some of my movements, I have reduced the sets down from 3 to 2 on some of my movements, not all, because I found I was falling into that mindset. I was like, okay, getting tired at the end of the session, and then like an exercise like lateral raise, I have 3 sets to do, but I found I wasn't performing them to the best of my ability. So I was like, okay, now it might be time to take away a set and focus more on the quality, and that's what I did, and I'm having better sessions because of it. So, side note there, but that's so important. So, quality work first and foremost, and build on that quality work over time. So, training effort, training close to failure, progressing is more important than the amount of sets you're doing. So, with the seated cable row, we're keeping that hand position either neutral or somewhat like semi-neutral, semi-supinated, because again, I'm trying to bias my lats. You're not going to completely isolate that area. A little bit of the upper mid-back is going to be working as well, but because I'm keeping the elbow tucked and keeping that hand position, I'm biasing my lats a little bit more. One thing as well with that movement is that I sit off to the side. You'll notice I scooch my ass off to the side, so I'm not like pulling out here. I'm going to kind of line myself up, sit this way. If it's this way, I'm going to line myself up so the cable is more in line with me, and it just feels a little better. That's only something small, but if you're already training hard, training close to failure, progressing, doing that little tweak might make the movement feel a little better, therefore giving you a few more percent with that movement. Also, start on your weaker side with that, because you don't want to be starting on your right, for example. That's my strong side. If I get 15 reps here, but I get 13 reps here, you're only furthering the imbalance with those two sides. So start on the weaker side, and after you do one side, make sure you give yourself like at least 30 to 45 seconds break in between that, because you'll be a little bit gassed. If you do it right, if you're performing hard, you'll be a little bit gassed, which is what I want you doing. Train hard. Almost ignore the rep range that I'm giving you. I know I'm giving you rep ranges, but almost ignore it. Take your sets close to failure. The only way you know what close to failure is if you actually go to failure. So really go balls to the wall here. Next exercise then is chest supported row with a neutral, kind of semi-neutral / pronated grip, supersetted with the dumbbell pullover. So I superset these mainly because of time. This was the session I'm doing today. I don't want to spend too long in the gym either. I have been spending quite a long time in the gym because I want to maintain my performance during this cut. And a big part of that is allow myself good rest time to have another productive set. So I'm supersetting them. Ideally you wouldn't, but at the same time, I find they don't actually take away from each other too much. So with chest support row, I'm going with this grip, and it's a wider grip, and I'm really trying to bias the upper back muscles. And obviously with the dumbbell pullover, I'm really trying to bias the lats, and you can really see the leaner I'm getting, you can really see the lats working, coming into play. The dumbbell pullover is a movement I have fallen in love with, especially over the last 3 weeks. I find the more and more I do it, the better I can connect with the movement, and it just feels amazing. And it's a unique enough movement for your back. A lot of the time we have our vertical pull, we have our horizontal pull, which I covered. The pullover is like that arc motion that feels really nice and actually takes your biceps out of it. And what I consider to be a feature, not a bug, is the fact that it includes your triceps as well. So if you have that slight bend in your arm as you're going down, your triceps are also going to be involved in the movement as well. For me, that's something I actually like, because I struggle to roll my arms. For someone else, if you don't like that, then just keep your arms straighter. Keep your arms more locked, and you'll feel your lats working more. Actually, someone who does a brilliant video on the dumbbell pullover is, I don't know his name, but I know the name of his channel is Fitness FAQs. He's a really in-depth video on the dumbbell pullover. He goes into great detail on it, which is a really good watch. With the dumbbell pullover, start light, build your foundation, and get a feel for the movement, because it is a unique enough movement. Like, as I said, it's feeling better for me over time, and I'm someone who connects with my back really well, but it'll take time to get used to it. Like, figure out, do you like more of a bend, more of a straight arm, how low you're going to go that feels comfortable, and yeah, and with that movement as well, figure out whether you like to lie on a bench like the standard way, or almost go perpendicular to the bench and go cross bench. Personally, that's the way I like to do it. I like the top of my shoulders on the bench and just a little bit of the back of my head. I don't like having my head hanging off the bench. For some reason, it doesn't feel right. But having my head slightly on the bench feels perfect. And the movement feels amazing for me. After that is the back work of that session done. Next, we're moving on to biceps. We're on to my favorite bicep exercise the last 4 years now, the incline bicep curl. 4 years ago, I started doing this movement. I think I was on 7.5 kilos. Today, I did 25 kilos for 6 reps and 1 extra dirty rep. It was a filthy rep. I never got 7 reps before, so I was like, I don't care, I'm getting 7 reps by any means necessary. And it was filthy. I love this movement. You get such a lovely stretch at the bottom of the movement. Everything else feels good. Like, I pause there because like some bicep movements I do, my shoulders, like if I'm standing up doing like a barbell curl, sometimes the front of my delts can get sore, be fatigued, and it has been that way for years. So something I love about the incline curl is that I just don't get that. It's all biceps. Granted, I'm lifted with that set you saw there, I'm lifted quite heavy. I am cheating, but I don't care if I'm cheating on my arm work. It's something I've been experimenting with the last year and a bit, is taking my arms beyond failure, my arm training beyond failure. And I found they've really responded because, like I said before, my arms struggle to grow. They really struggle to grow, so I've had to put more effort into them and get a little bit looser with my technique at times. Maybe I'll change my thought process on that, but I've seen growth from that, so I'm going to continue to do that. And it's not like my form is bad for the entirety of the set, it's just at the end to get a little bit more work in. So I'm not condoning bad technique, that's not what I'm saying. With that, guys, what's beautiful about it is that stretch at the bottom. So if you're, as much as your hands can stretch, keep your arms behind your body, stretch and get up. Get a nice squeeze at the top, but big stretch at the bottom. And I do that with a supinator grip. Next exercise on this day is a fun new variation I started messing with. I don't even know what you call it. It's a dual hammer curl, but on a seated cable row, and I kneel down. Why I kneel down is because I started initially seated, but I was the way it was pulling me back. I had nothing to stabilize myself, so by going on the knees, leaning forward, I was able to maintain its position and just have my biceps work. And this is such a beautiful variation of a hammer curl. The cable is a dual cable, and again, it's like it's shoulder width, so it's not like I'm getting a stack and I'm doing this out here and here, because like it just doesn't feel right. But the fact that the cables are like this and I'm lined up like that feels perfect. So I'm doing 2 to 3 sets here. Today was the first day in a while I did 3 sets. I normally do 2. If I'm feeling good, I'll do more. If I'm not, I'll just cap it at 2 sets. So there's a little bit of auto-regulation that goes on with my training. Auto-regulation basically means that how much work I do or the weight I lift depends on the day. Because if we have good days and bad days, we're not human. We're not robots, we're human. That's the pull session. Next session is the push session, my favorite session of the week. So starting off the first exercise, the dumbbell shoulder press. You already know if you've been following this channel, this is an exercise I took to the moon last year. I really progressed. 2023, I was doing 30 kilos, upwards of like 15 reps. But last year I ended up working up to 50 kilogram dumbbells in each hand and got 7 reps as my best set. And yeah, that's something I haven't tried in a while. Maybe I might give it a crack in tomorrow's push session. But yeah, it's a movement I've gotten quite strong with, and my shoulders are a muscle group that have really come on since last year. They've really come on since the bulk. And a big part of that is because the shoulder press and strength, you just know. This is the thing with being in the trenches and lifting heavy, is that you know from the lifts you're doing, with how strong you've gotten, you know you're adding tissue. And that's one exercise where I felt the meat being added to my delts with that movement, so that was a great one. And yeah, I do either 2 or 3 sets here. Again, it depends on the day. If I feel good here and I'm happy with my performance on both my top and back off sets, so I'm doing a heavy set, let's say 6 to 8 reps, drop down for a set then where I'm trying to get anywhere from 8 to 12 reps. If I'm happy with my performance on both of those sets, I'll leave it at 2 sets. If I'm not, if I think I gave a shit performance or didn't lift as heavy as I could or got as many reps, I'll actually do a 3rd set, which might be counterintuitive, but I'm doing a 3rd set to sort of make up for the fact that I'm not lifting as heavy as I could. Not saying that's perfect, not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's how I approach it. So 2 sets, shoulder press, job done, 2 or 3 sets, and then I'm moving on to dips. So the dips have been going very well for me lately. I feel strong as hell. the leaner I'm getting, the lighter I'm getting. Dips are obviously going to feel better as well. Dips, I am performing only 2 sets. There's no 3 sets. Why that is because I'm happy with my chest growth. I've been happy with my Yiddies for the last few years. They've always been a strong point for me. So I'm not really trying to grow my chest as much, but I'm trying to maintain its size and I'm trying to get stronger with it. The dips is a funny one. We're all built a little bit different. Some dips won't suit some people. If you have like longer arms or you're a heavier individual, obviously if you're heavier, it's going to be harder to perform dips. So if you need to lose weight in order to get better at them, then you might need to address your nutrition, consider a calorie deficit, shaving off a few pounds so you can get lighter, so you can perform that movement a little bit better. Because obviously it's a bodyweight movement. I would give the same advice to anyone who's looking to get better at pull-ups. With the dips, one thing I'll say is when you're standing up at the bars, push into those bars very hard. That almost just steadies my body straight away and puts my shoulders in a very good position. Because a lot of time people get into the dips, they get into like this shrug position and they break. It's not comfortable and they break at the elbows then and it just looks all over the shop. So press into the bars nice and firm, lean forward and then break at the elbows and go as deep as your shoulder mobility will allow. You'll notice I go quite deep. I've been doing it for years. So if depth is something you want to work on, consider reducing the load and practicing that technique I just shared with you there and going nice and deep and then getting your body comfortable to that real stretched position if you're going extremely low and then gradually build up the load with that over time. That's dips. Next exercise then is the cable ladder raise, and you'll notice I set the height of the cable to the height of my wrist. Why that is because I'm trying to bias the length and position of the side delts with this movement, and by having the cable height set like here, the delt is being stretched that way. You can have it set, you can adjust it to where it's down at the bottom, it's very common, but then it's kind of pulling you down that way as opposed to pulling you across. The next thing I do is I'm standing forward. So I grab the cable, imagine that's it, I stand forward, and why that is because now my shoulders are getting even more of a stretch there. So important here that you keep your hips square, torso square, facing that way. You want your shoulder getting pulled this way, getting a big stretch, but you don't want your torso to move, because if I do this, I've just taken away the stretch of my shoulder, and now some of my torso muscles, obliques, whatever, upper back, core, all that shit is getting involved, whereas we don't really want that involved. Maybe by the end of the set, if you want to do a little bit of that to get more reps, might be acceptable, but I don't even do that. I try and stay square the whole time, and even at the end of the set, if I'm getting fatigued, I'd rather just get limited range of motion, but know that my shoulder is taking all of the work there. I'm doing 3 sets, and I want a minimum of 10 reps. I'm aiming for anywhere from 10 to 15 reps with all 3 sets, and it's a fun shoulder exercise. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it biases that length and position of the shoulder, which is really nice. Next, we're on to our last 2 exercises. Not supersetted, but now we're on the tricep portion, and I've been doing these seated incline tricep pushdowns. This is such a fantastic movement for the triceps. Why I love it is because I got quite strong with tricep pushdowns last year, but the stronger you get, it's almost it's harder you find the way it's almost pulling you up and pulling you out of position with how heavy it gets. So by sitting down at this incline, it just removes that, it's on the triceps, which is where you want it. And how I perform this, I try to just I try and lie back and just allow my shoulders, my wrists, my elbows to be the only thing that's moving. So by doing that, you're actually going to bias the long head. A lot of times people think the long head is just being worked with some overhead stuff, but it's more to do with the position of your shoulder, and if you're allowing your shoulder to move freely or not. So I'm really trying to bias the long head of the triceps here by just allowing the bar to come right up, get a big stretch, and lock out the elbows hard. I'm going for that hard squeeze at the bottom. And you mightn't necessarily feel the inside of your triceps working during the exercise, but then after you do the set, after you get back up, shake your arms, I really feel the blood flood to the inside of this area, and it feels incredible. So There's a bit to it. You have to bring a bench over to it. So it's a bit of an effort, especially if you train in a public gym. It's not necessary. You can do it with a standing tricep push down. If you haven't tried that technique, like I said, what I just recommend is grabbing the bar, pulling to your chest, leaning forward, and just getting very strict with that technique. Elbows to wrists only. As much elbow bend at the top to stretch the triceps and down. And if you get strong as hell doing that, then consider doing what I'm doing. Bring the bench over and almost like start again. This is a long video, but you're getting golden nuggets here. If you've stayed this long, you're getting a great program. You're getting an inside look into my head, how I think about training. And if you do this consistently, you'll make a lot of gains. Let's keep going. Last exercise then is a kneeling tricep rope extension. I only do 2 sets here because at this point, the goose is cooked. I'm done. I've been in the gym too long because I'm taking good rest times in between my sets. So what I'm aiming for here is a top and back off set. Usually I'm going anywhere from like 9 to 12 reps with the first set. And then the last set I'm aiming for anywhere from like 12 to 15 plus reps. And I'll add in a few cheat reps at the end of that. Like just trying to like stay leaning forward, get it down, and might cheat. But as I said before, regarding the bicep curl, I don't care if I cheat at the end of a set because I'm trying to get the most work out of my arms. That is the push session. It's my favorite day. And then we're on to the next day, Thursday, which is legs. So this is the session. The first thing I do are Zercher squats. Zercher squats, I absolutely love it. It's been my saving grace the last 2 years because I found a barbell squat pattern I can do with no pain to my lower back. For those who don't know, I hurt my lower back years ago, like back in 2018, 2019, doesn't really matter, doing a rack pull thing. A rack pull, performed it poorly, I'll admit. And since then, my lower back has been something I just have to keep an eye on. For years, it took me a while to figure out how to train around it. I was always doing machines, which are great alternatives, but I just love the kick, the buzz I get off a barbell squat movement. And the Zercher squats, when I started doing them, they felt amazing, and I've obviously gotten strong as hell with that movement, gotten to a point where I can Zercher squat 200 kilos for 1 rep, which I did quite comfortably last week or 2 weeks ago, and performing like anywhere from 150, the last session I did 150 for 10 reps on my first set. So I've gotten really strong at that movement. I absolutely love it, and there's 0 issues with my lower back, and I found with the way I perform it, I get my erectors involved as well, which I like, but I'll talk about that. So Zercher squat, I'm performing 2 to 3 sets. It depends how I feel on the day and depends how the sets go, but 2 to 3 sets. Lately it has been 3 sets. I'm trying to like really just like knuckle down and get 3 sets done, but after 3 sets of Zercher squat, I am cooked because how hard I train, I'm training close to failure. They're good reps, my ass is sinking right down, and I'm trying to progress in that movement. I've been doing a good job of progressing that movement throughout this cut. So I'm pretty beat after doing 3 sets of Zercher squats. What I normally have been doing is 2 top sets, aiming for 5 to 6 reps. So I'll go really heavy for 5 to 6. The last set, I'll taper the load down and increase the reps, and I'll aim for anywhere from like 8 to 12 reps with that movement. The Zercher squat is a very unfamiliar movement. It'll take a lot of getting used to. You don't have to do it. You could take any squat pattern, do the same sets, reps with it. It doesn't have to be the Zercher squat, but if you want to try it, just take your time with it. I started off doing 60, 70, 80 kilograms, so on and so forth. I worked up over time. After the Zercher squat, just with the Zercher squat as well, I'm taking like 5 minutes after each set. Sounds like a long time, but I only perform 4 exercises on this day. So the Zercher squat, it takes a lot of time out of my session. It could take 40 minutes because with how heavy I lift, I have to do a lot of warm-up sets working up to it. So just bear that in mind. If you are going to do the Zercher squat, it's a good idea if you want to really bias your quads to try and maintain an upright posture going up and down. Like a lot of the time, you'll see if the weight is too heavy for a lot of people, sometimes you'll see this with me doing it. I'll go down like this, but I'll come up and that hinge will happen. And then it's not the quads doing the work anymore, it's a lot of your hips doing the work, and it's your erectors, it's your lower back. I actually like that. Because I don't deadlift, I like the fact that my erectors are getting worked like hell throughout the Xerxes squat, which for me is a feature, not a bug. For someone else, you might just want your legs to get strong as hell with that movement. So if that is the case, try and maintain that real upright posture coming out of the hole. It's actually something I try to do as well. I try to maintain an upright posture, but if that forward lean happens, I'm not mad about it. Just wanted to say that. Second exercise then is the 45-degree back extension, which I'm doing for 2 sets, and I'm also supersetting that with a leg curl. Why I'm supersetting them is because time, like I said, Xerxes squat is taking up a lot of my time. I'm conscious of my time in the gym and the rest of my schedule. So I am doing those two together. And I don't really care about trying to get the most out of my hamstrings. If I tried to get the most out of my hamstrings, I would separate them. But honestly, I don't care. I'm not saying you should have the same thought process towards your hamstrings. I've been training them for years and really focusing on them and prioritizing them. But I've just decided it's not where I want my resources to go. If I can take time away from the session to give myself to outside the gym, I'll take it from there. With the back extension, I set the pad to hip height. I go right down for a massive stretch. I get right in there, and then to get back up, I'm thrusting my hips forward, utilizing my glutes to get back up, but also my erectors are going to work there as well. So it's not uncommon for my glutes and my erectors and my hamstrings to be pumped after the back extension, which is exactly what I'm going for. Then I'm on to the leg extension. The leg extension, I'm doing 3 sets. I'm doing one heavy set where it's like, could be anywhere from 8 to 12 reps. And then I'm doing 2 back off sets for 12 to 15 plus reps. I love the leg extension. I love how it isolates the quads so nicely. My quads are screaming. And again, this is a movement where almost ignore the rep range, like choose a weight that's appropriate for the rep range. But if you have more in the tank, just take the leg extension to failure and beyond. For this session, it's the last set. It's like the last exercise in your plan. If the reps end up being partial, so be it, your quads are still working hard. And yeah, it's just a movement that feels fantastic. Love it so much. That's the leg session. 4 exercises, but if you do quality work, you train hard, high efforts, taking your sets close to failure, and you're progressing, it is enough. On paper, it's not a lot, but you dictate how fucked you're going to be at the end of the session by how much you put into the session. Woo! Next session. So that was Thursday, legs. We're taking a break Friday, and then we're taking that break Friday to get us ready for the weekend's training. So Saturday, we're training upper body. First exercise, the barbell bench press. I love this movement. I love the bench. Got strong as hell with it last year. We got that 170 bench, and we're still maintaining the strength of that movement, even being 85 kilos now compared to being peak bulk last year, 98 kilos, getting the 170. I'm still maintaining my strength with the bench, which is fantastic. I love the bench press, and anyone who doesn't love the bench press, usually they're shit at it. It's just an observation I've made. Bench, what we're doing is, we're doing 2 to 3 sets, but as of late, I've been sticking to 3 sets. I'm doing 2 top sets, 1 back off. 2 top sets involve anywhere from like 4 to 6 reps. Very heavy, good form, and like, don't get me wrong, like it's heavy, it's good, and it's 4 to 6 reps, but like my chest, my shoulders, mainly my chest, are pretty much pumped after those 2 sets. And then the last set, I'm dropping the weight right down to get at least 9 to 12 reps here. So for instance, what I do at the weekend, I did 140 for 6, set 2, 140 for 5, set 3 was 125 for 10, plus I failed on the 11th rep, I think. So that's the general gist of how I perform the bench, and I give myself at least 4 to 5 minutes in between those sets, because I am lifting quite heavy. Next exercise is the single arm lat pull down machine that is in Gold's Gym. I don't know what you call this machine, but it feels fantastic. There's such a lovely stretch. There's a lovely pull from like this angle, and you can bias which part of your back you want to work more. You can do both hands at the same time, but I really love grabbing the handle, almost like leaning out to the side, so lat is already getting a nice stretch, and just keeping that elbow position tucked, that hand position either neutral or supinated, and just kind of like trying to wrap the elbow around the spine at the end. It really works my lats really nicely. So it's a beautiful machine. If you don't have access to it, that's fine. Find another machine, either do a lat pull down, single arm, do a dumbbell row, do machine row. You have options there available to you. What I'm doing here is I'm doing 3 sets. I'm doing 1 set very heavy I'm trying to get whatever I can. It could be anywhere from 8 to 10 reps. Next set, I'm dropping the weight down, trying to get 10 to 12. Last set, I'm dropping the weight down so I can get 12 to 15. So the last set feels really nice. It's a set where I'm leaving that set feeling nice and pumped. Next exercise, we have a superset coming up. We're supersetting the behind the neck press with the seal row, and I'm performing 2 sets here. This is one of those exercises, both of these exercises, where recently I only dropped the sets down from 3 to 2 sets because of what I was talking about earlier. I found I was looking at those, I found I was just doing the extra set to tick a box, and I wasn't putting a lot of work into it. That's junk volume, that's fatigue without the benefit of actually getting somewhere with the movement. So like, you know what? Take a set away from both and just give more quality work to those 2 sets you're doing. And again, it feels a lot better. I'm happier with my performance and I'm not as fucked. Or if I am fucked, it's a result of good quality work being done. But like that 3rd set was just too much. It's too much for me right now because my energy reserves are low because I'm cutting. So I'm doing a top and back off set with both of those exercises. I'm starting with the behind the neck press. I'm going for anywhere from like 6 to 8, then dropping the weight down to get at least 12 plus reps. Exact same with the seal row. So I'm working my shoulders really nicely with the behind the neck press. Look, people often say this is dangerous. It depends on your shoulder mobility. I don't think it's dangerous. I think you can get your body used to any position. Just start light, build a good foundation, and work your way up. With seal row, I'm now trying to bias my upper back. So what I'm doing here is I'm keeping my elbows flared. I'm stretching my elbows at the bottom, opening up my shoulder blades, and driving those elbows back. What I'm also conscious of doing is there's 2 driving forces happening here. I'm trying to drive my chest into the pad while I drive my elbows up, because it's very easy for you to lift your torso. And while I'm not perfect, while I'm guilty of my torso lifting, I'm trying not to, especially lately. I'm really trying the last few sessions to drive my chest into the pad and drive my elbows right back. That's those 2 exercises. Then I move on to the dumbbell lateral raise. I'm performing 2 to 3 sets here, depends how I feel on the day. Lately it's been 3 sets. I'm doing a top set for 8 to like 11 reps with a weight that's heavy. So it's not uncommon for me to pick up between 18 and 20 kilogram dumbbells in each hand for the first set. Next 2 sets, I'm going for that higher rep range. So lateral raise, typically you want to perform this exercise with higher reps. So I'm performing a weight that I can do 12 to 15 plus reps with for those last 2 sets. And again, I'm taking it beyond failure. I'm trying not to swing my body. I'd rather fail, same what I was saying in the single arm cable lateral raise in the previous session, my push session. I'd rather like stop here than like be flailing my body and doing this sort of shit. Your shoulders will still work, but now you're bringing other shit into the movement, and you can get a lot of these versus like just staying within this range and it's just getting less and less and less. I'm pretty cooked at this point. Last exercise is the lying power raise. I normally do 2 sets here because I'm done. I'm so tired, and this exercise is for my rear delt and it's for my shoulder health as well. This is an exercise that was given to me by Tristan Jacobs last year, who helped me out with my getting my bench press up. He helped me program it to get stronger for it, but he also gave me exercises to keep my shoulders healthier, and that was one of them. So it's just an exercise that feels really good, that I want to keep in, and it's checking that box for me. So you know, I do 2 sets here, but you can do 3 sets. And I'm keeping this at 12 to 15 reps for both of those sets. That's that session. And that brings us to Sunday for arms and legs. Why it's arms and legs is because my arms are a point, they're a muscle I struggle with. So on this day, I want to prioritize my arms and train them first. So you could argue that I should be doing that on my push and my pull days. Like, why aren't you doing your arms so first? Because I want to prioritize my bigger lifts as well. So on this day, because arms, they're really a small muscle group, and while you can train them really hard, and I do, you're not going to be too fatigued. That fatigue is not going to affect your leg session. Not really. And my arms are the priority over my legs anyways. So that's why I train them first. I do 4 arm exercises on this day, and I do 3 leg exercises. First arm exercise I'm starting off with are preacher curls, and I will do 4 sets here. 1 set, which is stupidly heavy, I'm going anywhere from like 3 to 5 reps here, because I'm really trying to challenge myself and lift loads that are like almost too heavy for my biceps. But like, that's going to be good for muscle growth. And because I'm going arguably too heavy, quote unquote, for that first set, when I drop the weight back down to something that's more appropriate, I'm more likely to get more reps, because my biceps are used to, like, they've just experienced a really heavy load. So when you drop down to a load that's like going to be moderate to heavy, it's now going to feel a lot lighter for you. So I do the first set, 3 to 5 reps. Next 2 sets are anywhere from 8 to 10 reps. And the last set, I'm going 10 to 12 plus reps. So I'm taking it beyond failure if I feel I have it in me. On that last set as well, or even like some of the sets in the middle, from sets 1 to 4, at the very end, I'm like squeezing here, and then like if I feel I can't do any more, I'll stop here and just get like a few more of these. I might do that for 2 or 3 reps, but that they only count if you take the set to failure in the first place. Don't like go from this to all of a sudden doing You're fooling nobody but yourself. Make sure you're close to failure. Like, you just know you're not going to get another rep. So when you get this last one up, you fucking fight for it. Your body should be squirming. Like, you see me doing this, my legs are freaking out underneath. It's like, I know I'm not going to get another full one. So that's when I'll start doing this shit. And I'm supersetting that with a standing tricep pushdown. I'm experimenting with that short triangle bar lately. And I'm performing it the same way as I told you how to perform the standing tricep pushdown. Leaning over it, keeping the elbow to wrist strict, massive bend at the top, good flex at the bottom. I already explained how I perform that. That's why I'm doing that. I'm doing that for 3 sets. So the preacher curl I'm doing for 4, this I'm doing for 3, and then I move on to seated hammer curls. The first set is stupidly heavy, and there might even be a bit of swinging involved, but I don't care. High effort, trying to take the set close, if not beyond failure, and trying to progress it. So like the last session, I think I started off with 25 kilos in each hand, which probably like looked ridiculous, but don't care. And I dropped down for the next 2 sets then. So I'm trying to get like 8 to 10 for the first set, 10 to 12 for the next one, and then 15 plus for the last one. So the arms are fairly juiced up after that. I'm only doing 3 sets there. And then I'm doing 4 sets of the next tricep exercise, which is an overhead cable extension. So I'm messing around the last few months. I'm keeping it at this height and just leaning away from the bar. And this is where I'll allow my shoulders to move here freely. I just want to get a massive stretch and lock out. And I'm keeping the bar at this height, keeping where the cable is, so it's in line with my triceps. So my triceps get a real nice stretch there. And what I'm going for here is typically 2 top sets and then 2 back off sets. So 2 top sets where I'm trying to go heavy enough for like anywhere from like 8 to 11 reps, and then dropping the weight down for 12 to 15 plus reps again, and allowing myself to cheat on those last few reps to get a bit more work in. So that's arms. There's 4 exercises there, 2 supersets. And it's great doing supersets because your bicep work is not going to affect your tricep work, and vice versa. It's just saving a bit of time. Next, I'm into pendulum squats as my first exercise, and I'm doing anywhere from 2 to 3 sets here. First set is going to be very heavy for a set of 5 to 7. The next 2 sets are going to be a back off from anywhere from like 10 to 15 reps. I'm getting more reps in here, taking that little bit of a lighter weight, more reps approach because of how heavy I go with my Zerchers during the week. So I'm using this as an opportunity to sink nice and deep into the movement, keep that upright position to really bias my quads and get some more, maybe better form quality working, more isolated to the quads as opposed to my quads, hips, adductors, lower back, erectors working throughout the Zerchers. And then I go into the leg curl, seated leg curl. I'm only doing 2 sets here. I'm doing a top and a back off set, so a top set of like 8 to 10, and then a back off set of 12 plus reps. And then the leg extension, I'm doing 3 sets here. I'm doing a top set again of 10 to 12, and the next 2 sets I'm going for 15 plus. Something I actually do in this gym is I grab 2 of those like yoga blocks and I place them in between my foot and the pad of the leg extension as to get more stretch at the bottom. So I'm increasing the range of motion of the movement, making it harder, making my quads have to work harder by doing that. And it feels amazing. My quads are screaming after it. They get such a nice pump. And then I try and do steps after on the treadmill. I can barely walk. I'm walking like a duck, and my girlfriend is filming me because she thinks it's hilarious. I'm out of breath fucking talking about all that shit. But that's my program. And yeah, it's a great program. It's working really well for me. Like I said at the start, the program doesn't necessarily matter as much as it matters that you put a lot of work and time into it. I suggest not going balls to the wall straight away. And this is coming from me, someone who favors and loves going balls to the wall with the training. You can't be stupid. You need to build a good foundation first and foremost. So nail your technique, get a feel for the movements, where they are situated in the gym, how you're going to go about like going from one movement to the next, getting that set up right. Take the first 2 weeks to do that, build a base, and then from there, start going to town. Training very hard. So good form, good range of motion, training very hard, training close to failure, and write your flipping weights down. Write your weights down and try and progress over time. And you will have a great time. You'll see unreal gains with this program because it's hitting everything pretty much twice a week. And it's really favoring, it's favoring everything really. I suppose you're going to get strong with everything. So this program, I've been running it since October. I plan to keep running it throughout the year. And I'll only make tweaks where I see fit, and I'll never change up a program entirely, completely, switch everything up because it's too much. It'll only be because if a movement goes stale, if something's hurting me or bothering me, then I'll have to make a change. But so far so good. I've been running since October. I've been running it through the deficit and absolutely flying it. So this video is incredibly long. If you stayed and watched all this, good for you. Because a lot of people are going to see the timestamp on this video and they're going to be like, no way. So this is for people who really wanted to get an insight into my training, who wanted to see how I think about things, and hopefully this stands to benefit you. If you do it, let me know. I'll be excited to see how you're progressing, and give it time, people. Give it time. Don't be thinking like 12 weeks down the line. I'm probably going to give you rep ranges for 12 weeks, but just stick to the rep ranges, stick with it over time, take them to and beyond failure. Give it the full year if you want to get the most out of this plan. That's it for me. I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. The next one will be a shorter video. Have a good day. Train hard.